biggest tournaments of the year, especially with such a young squad. I felt like that was the biggest driving factor here for OG. But we'll see. If they save face, if they get a bit of pride under their belt, maybe this is a start of a longer development arc for these guys. Or will Heroic just kind of play spoiler and try and book themselves into the challenger stage? This is the first map, and it's Nuke right on the table. Heroic starting on that T side, and it seems like they're going pretty dry on that utility.
Yeah, OG have had the worst pistol round percentage in the entire EU RMR. They've won 2 and lost 14 in that Yumi. And against FaZe in the best of 3, they didn't win 1 pistol out of the 3 maps that got played.
Let's see if they can find a little bit more success. This first map can be quite difficult, and with Heroic already taking so much outside control, you can see that they're waiting for OG to make some kind of counter reaction, peek into them. Not going to be the case. They do slip down towards Secret, and for now, nobody on OG has made the rotate in, so a lot of open ground for Heroic.
Now, what do they do with this, though? Because this could be them just trying to see if they can bait in distractions. They could still bring that bomb into an upper split. And for OG, they've missed out that window of opportunity of spotting outside, so Alexi B has no idea and no information that bomb's coming into mini.
Yeah, this is exactly what Heroic had planned for this. OG started rotating down towards ramp, and so there's nobody really to contend here. Nico's overwhelmed and traded out, so they can try and move into the safe planting position. Tessa's already considering that flank as well.
This is a good read coming through from Heroic, and for OG, they need to really find some connections in quickly. Without that kid in play, it's going to make things very difficult, and even to Squeak Door, Shush is just waiting for that timer of the door being opened. Use that sound cue, going to close it back onto them. OGD picks in quickly, and the P250 is the one to strike first. Fowday gets one back, Tessas as well, chiming into the action, and the CTs start working together, but they've got to get onto that bomb straight away, and Alexi's just sticking it. Tessas the last one to try and see if he can swing out to the open, trying to create a fight that doesn't happen, and OG are going to be able to stick to 10 seconds, and win a pistol round unexpectedly.
Yeah, I felt like they got completely outmaneuvered in that as well. So the fact that OG are able to get the retake flowing as easily as that, bring into these isolated fights, I thought Shush was going to just completely lock them out of the bomb site, funneling them in one at a time at the door. And then all of a sudden, OG coming with a flurry of frags, Alexi jumping on that bomb, and it's easy pickings from there. So a great start, you know, talk about that win rate on the pistol rounds. They somehow beat the odds. Now Heroic on the force buy. Do, of course, keep a decent amount of change in the pocket. Just some upgraded pistols and actually utility. So I misspeak. Not forced. Oh, nade looking mighty meaty, and Valde will get 2. Spams right on top of 1. Extra damage on the rest, and he's holding his ground. He's not moved down towards ramp. It will be his death, but I think he's done enough. Information's relayed over, and so Mantu can move in to sweep up the pieces or not. Now another rifle can be recovered. This starts to get a little hairy if you're OG.
It gets slightly awkward. They just try to hope that that bomb doesn't get planted, that extra cash injection that the T's can work with. And I'll ask you the question, Yumi, are you surprised that Heroic didn't force here? Because when we looked at their game against Big, they were, what, 0-4 in pistol rounds, and then they won 3 out of 4 of those round 2 force buys. Yeah. Knowing they got 3 kills and a bomb plant and pistol, you would normally expect Heroic to just buy it up completely.
Yeah, I think that's what caught me off by it as well. Just especially because they really outmaneuvered them on the. Yeah, oh my goodness.
Don't see this every day.
No.
It beats the loss bonus, right? 3,100. Yeah.
T-side A1S saves. Well, there's certainly time for experimentation. Let's put it that way. I mean, these are the 2 highest priority weapons as well. If you're OG, you've bought 3 A1Ss, 2 MP9s, and those SMGs have found nothing. So then they move into the first round buy, and you know that those SMGs are still going to be kicking. In a weird way, I like this, but yeah, I'm still definitely caught out by it.
It's one of those where, because you just don't see it every day, you almost look at it for a moment and you have to double back. You go, hang on a minute, is this really what's going on in this situation? OG get off to a second. Now, if anyone was paying attention to the A stream yesterday against that FaZe game, they will know that OG got off to some rough starts. They were 1-7 down on the first map of Ancient, they were 1-9 down on Inferno, and 1-8 down on Mirage. So that's all 3 maps in that best of 3 Yumi, where they got off to some really slow starts. They never really got into the game at all.
Already more than 1, so improvements already here for OG, even if it does come down to an awkward scenario where now they're up against a very, very strong buy here from Heroic. All rifles, so much utility as well. You can see the bombardment of flames as OG just try to counter out any sort of rush style plays, but outside will be contended instead. The wall of smokes are down. Not quite crossing with it here on this T side, and that's information that cannot be effectively relayed over for OG. They didn't have anyone inside of Garage, so steps towards Secret cannot be heard. Still going to be quite a slow round in development all in all. I don't really... I think OG are playing a little too safe at the moment. We've seen them play a passive in all 3 rounds so far. Feels like they're not really contending for a lot of that space. And we've seen Tessus in this position so many times over for all these nuke positions, but Flames does go 1-for-1 on a door exchange. There's a bit of movement now over towards these vents. Alexi does have a gap around the smoke, though, so keeping them busy. Tessus dropping right into Alexi's arms, and that's a great start here for OG. A man advantage, but it's only for a moment. Nico on the bomb site once again can chime in for one, but Valde's been spotted into these vents, and so that flank's not going to be there.
Nico's just trying to waste as much time in as possible, and Mantu was the guy outside that sort of had that crossfire with Alexi that didn't peek when Tessus fell down from that mini position. So he's got no idea that there's another backstab that can come in from that angle. Great holds from the wraparound play to pull the distraction that Nico's just playing time, keeping his life and allowing Mantu to just cut them off. A 3rd round being found by OG, and for Heroic, they've done very well in the head-to-heads against this international team in the past. They haven't played each other a massive amount recently. It's been about 7 months since their last head-to-head, which was in EPL Season 13. They've won 4 out of 5 head-to-heads, Heroic, and they've won all 4 of the last 4, so they're on a bit of a streak.
Ooh, a bit of a gap for Mantu to work off of the Flames as well will make it more difficult for them to fire right back. Just a whole load of Tech 9s outside. God, if Alexi only knew. Stown actually made his way down the vents, and Mantu gets overrun, so this is a little dangerous now. Smoke's fading outside, so it's kept in equal numbers. And do they anticipate that Valde will be here as well? You know, the fact that Mantu was kind of left in charge of that lower site may not anticipate a second. Certainly being slow about this one. Trying to group themselves up for a potential burst on the scene. Valde just has to play a little patient here. Maybe not go at that first opportunity. Canadian on the lurk, and Valde gets nothing on his lower hold. So this bomb can make its way in, get planted down. So extra money here for Heroic, and Alexi's trying to get a peer view in. Nico as well chiming in from the other side. So keeping it in a man advantage, but here comes a flank. Cadian coming in from behind. Stown does get overrun, so it's not in time. And I don't think Cadian can prevent this one from getting defused.
For an eco, it's decent damage. You'd love to be able to get another pick, and it might be presented for the first. The round victory is probably not going to happen at all. Got to get quite quickly to defend the bomb, and just doesn't happen. Flames is able to deal with Cadian. And for Heroic, when you think about the investment in that round, they're probably quite chuffed at that. You get 3 kills, you're able to get a bomb plant, you're keeping this economy very low. And the reset potential starts coming into the minds of OG. All right, lads, let's make sure we're trying to convert more rounds here on Nuke without taking massive amount of casualties, because Alexi and Nico, they don't have any money. Mantu's low. It's only Flames and Valde that have got some cash in the reserve.
Also, against Big yesterday, we did see Heroic struggle on their T side, respectively, on Nuke. So seeing if they can maybe build on that earlier loss, see if they can find a solution. Already off to a pretty rough start. OG, like you said, could end up in reset territory if they're not too careful. But again, this outside fight seems like is consistently won here by Heroic. Valde could find a great timing outside. Yeah, Tessus not anticipating the move. Refresh could try and line up a trade, but you can see just how privy they are to the fact that a man could have crossed, but Valde will still investigate. So it's a 4-on-4, and now we're into the situation where Heroic can dial themselves back in, maybe re-attack ramp.
Just a slight overextension there from the Garage player. Valde wins a first great duel, and Refresh knows, all right, I'm desperate for a trade, desperate for a pick back, boost the AWPer up to look into this ramp position. OG have always been really passive at ramp. Even Mantu is not really looking that aggressively, can start being able to adjust the angle to start pushing forward, gets flashed off, thinking about just falling away, just playing passive, just not even engaging in a fight.
Kind of keep that numbers game at least equal. Still making quick moves here on the side of Heroic, and with the time bleeding down, round about this 30-second mark, needs to get their paces about them. Still walking in that ramp room. See if they can collapse quickly. It feels like they need to speed up here, because if they meet any resistance on the lower site, they're in for a world of hurt. They're still not making quick moves. Finally, I think they realize that the fire's behind them, and Montu's in a great spot to capitalize. Tag onto Shush, but no frag, and getting another one onto Stound. Bomb still heavily in contention, but Heroic do have the ability now to get that one planted. Fast rotates in for OG, and they know that once this is going down, they can move in, but Shush does act as spoiler. Cadian picking off another, so it's one-on-one. IGL versus IGL, and it's all about the mind games. Cadian trying to mask the door sound with the AWP shot. Does Alexi know? Doesn't seem like he's all too privy to the fact, and Cadian could potentially clutch this one out. Alexi's just trying to figure out where he's gone, and now he opens the door, but Cadian doesn't land the no-scope. It's Alexi to keep this ball rolling here for OG.
It's a difficult reposition in for Cadian. He doesn't have a lot of space to work with, has to play out from single door, and that bomb's not planted for him at all, so there's no real way that he can defend as soon as it gets tapped. So instead, you want to draw that fight straight away. You want to give yourself the opportunity of having that duel. OG have got off to a great start, and just kind of going back onto that point that you mentioned in the big game for Heroic, is that they had, 4 rounds on T-side. They were all individual. They even lost pistol in that second half. They recovered a 4-12 deficit to really bring it back and bring it to OT, even though they weren't sort of able to win that map. We do know that they can work with struggles on their D side. The problem is, when are we going to see their first?
Yeah, so putting up a few numbers to give them that leeway moving into the second half will be absolutely adamant. This is fast from Montu. Just a quick adjustment. Another one offered up. They're jumping right into him, and I don't think that Heroic will want to fancy any sort of outside contention. Yeah, this time, Montu, you've won the fight yourself.
Oh boy, that is exciting stuff. I love that from Montu. Confident, looking for pecks, looking for impact. And for OG, they're looking comfortable on their CT side. Heroic haven't been able to isolate many opening man advantages. They've got a couple of players that could just explode out from this hut position into an upper side take. They need picks, they need entries.
Falling on top hut, Flames dropping down, so steps made. They'll know that someone's over at least that direction. Whether or not they flush out Nico, yeah, gives up his position, and Flames able to capitalize on the space. The second is nice and sharp, and Refresh does come in for the trade, but Alexi right behind them. Doesn't fall too far out of favor there for OG. A lot of that predicated off of that early success that Montu's able to get outside. That is no longer free territory that Heroic can continually work off of.
And Mantu's getting a lot of support. You have to remember, coming into this game today, positive 31 on the KD differential, 1.12 average rating, second when it comes to most AWP kills per round at 0.5, just behind Device in the entire event. And what I love in that situation is not only is he the one to find that early damage, get them that 5-on-3, he's got that assistance. Flames playing floor on upper. He's doing work with the M4A1S.
Not to mention, I think Valde is kind of swapping positions very, very often. We saw that in the big game as well between Searson and Tabson. It feels like they're kind of operating a similar way where they can play either extremity, and if Montu wants to go for a particular fight or a particular angle, then Valde is there to pick up the slack. This is a great opening run here from OG. Even in a few closer moments, they've been able to get it over the line. Faster play in from Heroic. Refresh so much further past the smoke than they realize. But there's Flames once again to trade things out and finding more and more success. Multi-kills are so frequented by this man. A young star for OG. And once again, Heroic left in a pretty compromised spot. 3-on-4, not too much room. They were kind of banking on the success of that fast play. Now looking to reset. They have the smokes and Molotovs to make things a little easier coming out of this doorway. Oh god. The smoke's faded and the timing's great there for Flames. The lineup as well could well ace this. The bomb is out. Shush needs to connect with it somehow, and Flames, I think he realizes he's playing up close. He tries to get an elevated angle, and Flames will get the ace. 7 in a row for OG, and Flames the one to do it all.
Oh, fantastic stuff coming out from Flames. And, well, putting Israel on the map, I mean, they've started being in that position for a while now. Few people at home don't know that Flames has actually got a older brother, a Sushan, an Orpa, that's been playing in and around the Tier 2 and 3 scene. We know Spinks is doing quite well. Who else have you got? Anarchez that's playing up on Finest. We've got some up-and-comer Israeli players really starting to strike through.
Yeah, once upon a time, I think they were teammates on like an old XDT lineup, like
way back.
2017. Yeah, that's super long ago. It's crazy to see all these guys come into the limelight. Mantu outside. Once again, it's an easy kill. Flames in the back of the bomb site. This time tested by the rush down of the pistols. And Nico is there to sweep up all he needs to. Down all that's left. And the D does not connect. OG doing a great job of keeping a handle on things, even when Heroic have gone for a couple changes of pace. OG, I mean, this is exactly what you want to see from a CT side start from them.
I know something you were saying to me as well, Yumi, before we started, was Flamesy's performance on Inferno against FaZe yesterday, of just the way that he was really coming through. Yeah, kind of disappointed in the end of that series when it went to Mirage, never really got going. Again, the whole team really didn't. They only got 4 rounds overall. We're seeing a lot of great nature plays coming through from OG. They're finding a lot of early success. They're having that comfortability, and even Flame starts off. We see the outside push in for Alexi B doing a lot of damage, can't adjust back up to the top silo, and Refresh actually just it gets away from that. H-Eater doesn't fall.
Yeah, threw it a little too far. If he'd underhanded, it might have connected. Valde as well will get run down by 2. So now both extremities threatened. You can see OG really considering the fact that that B site could be a liability. Now moving a player down the vents. They are relying on Nico to lock things down on this upper side, and Heroic could still regroup. Oh, great initiative in for Mantu. Clears outside, Refresh just left on the lurk, and that's one of the prongs of assault that I think Heroic were kind of banking on.
You got to make that play, don't you? When you're down by 1, you've got to start looking for information. Start seeing, is there a way that I can find a connection? Even up from a quick vent rotate, we can see with the orb! The no-scope, but he's on the ladder, can't quite follow up onto Cadian. And Heroic are now starting to make their way down to the lower bomb site, but they've got Flame to deal with. They don't know he's here. That's his 15th kill, and he's just trying to waste time. Make sure his teammate can get there in rotation, and he peeks out again. Another multi-frag round in from Flames. They keep the streak alive. 9 and 0 to come in for OG.
16 and 5 in these 9 rounds.
Man.
Yeah, he's been having a hell of a performance. And that's like tried and testament to the abilities of the young star, but also, you know, he's been playing very frequently off these other A-site players. Nico draws a lot of attention, so that's all the more room for Flames to perform. Outside will be tried once again. This time Tess is much quicker about it. Almost catches Mantu on the cross. He can make it over safely towards these secret steps, but there are 2 players that can quickly respond. They're falling back from ramp. This is a quick split here from Heroic, and Valde is under pressure. Alexi trying to alleviate that, but they only find the 1 kill on this lower site. So this is looking much better here from Heroic. They're cutting off the rotations before they can move on in, and it's a free plant for them.
Nico's going to have to really try and step up out to the double doors, and notice how much respect OG gave in that position, just trying to fall back. Great lurk from Tessas out to the secret position. Nico just doesn't expect it at all. And Alexi and Valde just say to themselves, right, let's just fall back. Let's give him that ramp control, and we'll have that bait and switch. We'll have that crossfire from sort of, what is it, Old Toxic and double doors where they're playing from. They find 1 kill between them. They needed to find more between the crossfire.
Yeah, just 1 kill between the 2 of them isn't going to be enough to keep Heroic guessing or even prevent them from taking more ground on that lower site. You can see OG weren't in fast rotates as a result of having those 2 players down there. Usually if there's like 1 anchor and you're really relying on him, there'll be like a quick correspondence or a quick vent dive perhaps. Not to be. Finally, Heroic breaks through that streak of rounds here from OG, and we know they only need that little bit of leeway. So you were asking, when are we going to get the first? Finally, it's delivered upon. The problem is finding the consistency to be able to bring this one back, because they're kind of running out of rounds here. This half ain't too long for this world.
Some early intel into the upper bomb site. Just getting quite close to that just wallbang shot straight into the mini position where Caden's starting to get some pace. We're starting to see some quicker stuff outside from Heroic these last few rounds.
Yeah, usually Tessus is in charge of mini, but look at what Cadian's up to. He's just throwing in so much chaos on the outside position. Nico lining them up for 2, but it's still Mantu. He's been in charge of ramp the entire round, hadn't moved a muscle. Says, guys, what's going on? Oh, I see. We've all died as Heroic are in our face. Now, moving in for a potential flank opportunity. Can move on in. No one's going to be considering this just yet here for Heroic, but plants in. Matu could do well to save this all. We talked a little bit about that money situation for OG. It is drying up. Yeah, he secures his exit. Just making sure he can safely make his way through T-Spawn. Heroic will just be happy that they've gotten another one back-to-back.
There was even just a smoke left there from one of the T-side players outside. So I guess Heroic were maybe thinking to themselves that we could have some variation in that round. And what we are seeing the last couple is that pace is probably their sweet success, right? That's the way that they can start making it quite uncomfortable for OG. Rotations are having a difficult time. Because even for Cadian, he, runs to the top of Mini, deals to the first player, gets into Credit Card, gets into Garage, and then strikes again. So even when you think, okay, he's got that first pick, maybe he's going to go Lockers, he's going to go Hell. No, he's actually looking for another fight.
Yeah, and you can see Flames just had no idea. Start to consider an outside fight, and then all of a sudden, I'm being peaked Credit Card? Why are they not looking for more? And you think about the round prior as well, you know, threatening Montu outside with pacey play from Tessus. They're trying to restrict what OG can do on these larder or extremity portions of the map, but once again, fast will be exactly what's called to order, and this time the restaurant's ready to receive. A couple of kills dished up for OG, and Heroic do get met at the gates. Once again, you know, we've seen a lot of 3-on-4, 3-on-5 scenarios for Heroic to try and mosey their way out of, but they haven't seen too much success.
It felt like it was such a statement with the setup of, you can go pacey outside and roll us, but you're not going pacey to the upper side take, because we're going to hit ya. So many decent crossfires. Flames other another one to his tally. And even for Valde, he doesn't necessarily need to peek here at all.
All about timing if he decides to look for information. Oh, corner jump up. Tessus had no idea. The other two players can't exactly trade. This box is giving him just enough cover. Where's the support? Where's the help? Somebody back this man up, but does what he can to stay alive for as long as possible. So they know that these two Heroic players are still contained. That's why Flames moves in through lobby. Make sure that they can't reposition or even consider another approach.
They're so done here, Yumi. They can't go back lobby. They can't go outside because they run into the orb. Their only approach is to go lower. Oh, there's two CTs here. OG have got such a read on the situation. And Mantu, he's not going to miss these at all. It's not Jiggles. It's Dry. It's no util. And he even follows up with a couple of kills. Great sequences in from the Orpa. And for Valde, was he getting hard baited in that position? Possibly, right? Rotations were very slow. Rotations didn't necessarily need to come in. And for OG, they just play off that. They go, right, we're going to give you the respect. We're going to give you ramp. And we're going to play off it accordingly.
Yeah, it's just about setting up the containment procedure, it felt like there for OG. Valde just buying time. Leave me behind. I'll keep them at bay. A true hero move from Valde. And double digits secured here for OG already. After the two back-to-back from Heroic. Again, the speedy play has been pretty hit or miss. I don't know if they're going to be prepared for it once again. Trying to make sure no shenanigans are being played in from the CT side. Flames, though, looking for information. Does clear out a bit of lobby, but that's where the majority of Heroic are grouped up. A gap in the smoke, but Refresh not punished. Can make the cross. Although, meanwhile, Alexi will clear towards outside. It depends on whether a Refresh does decide to turn around and see that. This is really dangerous now for Heroic because Alexi can really outflank lobby. Mantu's been dropped in towards the ramp, and so has Nico. And now this hidden element in Alexi could strike in. It's just about whether he gets there in time.
And just too many info plays going on there for OG. Matu getting caught off. Nico out to secret. Alexi B needs to get a lot of kills. And the timing's going to be tough because they're going to start making their way down to the lower bomb side. At least they've got the rotation, the information there. And Alexi B can strike and set the two players up in lower.
Yeah, they're both hurdled up at decon, so even if Flames falls here, will they account for Valde right behind him? AWP of Cadian will strike first, so now Valde can move on in, but Shush makes sure to clear it. No hidden flanks, no surprises here for Heroic. They get the 2 kills they need to open up this round, and even with Alexi on that flank, it just wasn't all too threatening.
You'd have to imagine that this is a somewhat decent feeling from Nico because he has played with everyone on this Heroic side. He was an ex-teammate for the Heroic side. He played over 200 games with Stown on Heroic, over 200 maps with Cadian on Heroic, even played with Tessus on Heroic and on Optic. Refresh played with him on Optic, and even Shush played together on Tricked for a little bit. So you've got those sort of I don't want to say a national derby, right? Because it's not really a national derby. But whenever you're an ex-teammate and there's pride on the line, you want to try and see if you can do the best you can. And knowing that this is their map pick, OG have put themselves in a damn good position.
Are you saying I wasn't good enough? With you guys on your rise to the top. Can be always quite interesting, the built-up chemistry, and it's often in good fun when they go up against each other, but the win tastes a little bit sweeter. All finally mustering together a third. We saw yesterday they got 4 versus Big, so maybe they can beat that scoreline. I'm liking that we've seen that adaptation from Heroic. They've seen a greater amount of success on these faster plays. Do eat a lot of nade damage on the cross, but look at the effort being made towards Secret. There's 4 players down. Alexi the only one that can prevent this. Molotov a little late. Doesn't really bounce the way he wants it to either. And he has to call for reinforcements. Nico's en route.
That puts that smoke down, makes it even more difficult for them to start exploding out for the double doors. There is still a lurk towards that top side that the CTs don't entirely know about. Nico with another re-smoke down towards Squeak Door. We've seen some good positions Heroic at this lower bomb site. They can't do much with it just yet.
Wonder if they're going to wait for that lurk to actually find anything. Maybe hoping to capitalize on events rotation, but right now, OG aren't really moving on their anchors. Flames has been pretty dependable as well, not often giving up that opening advantage. Feels like now they'll make their move. Cadian trying to lead the way with that AWP once again. The spam from Alexi is right on point, though. Cadian taking a significant amount of peppering. I mean, do they just jump right back up the vents? The option is certainly there.
Oh, that pick decides it, doesn't it? Got to pick towards the upper bomb site. You've got Tessas coming up from Secret. Options are there. They don't know about the Garage player. This could be a pick in for the CTs, and it is for Mantu. That's an important one. That might keep him at lower, and even Alexi B's on the cross, and they're diving into the crossfire between Alexi and Nico, even with a pick at that upper bomb site. Now Heroic are going to come back up. They can get the bomb down. It's a 2v4.
Bombs still get planted, and they know that they're dialing in those digits, so one player could be the only one they have to beat past, but finally it's down. Stown trying to make sure that they do not prevent them on getting into safer post plants. Cadian does want to take these fights, though. Know they need to work the advantage, and Stown's find the pick on behind. Stown deals with both players on the flank, so now it's down to clutch. Could be an ace for him, but they're already sticking it. Alexi around the other side, it's not planted for them, so it will be a taken away round. OG recognize the situation, make sure that Stown cannot perform the clutch, and it's 11 for the CT side.
Heroic just overcomplicating things in that matter. They get a great pick from that lurk and Squeak Doris down. They don't work with the advantage. Instead, they're trying to over-rotate the CTs. And for OG, as soon as you've got that lurk in Garage that is able to find the pick, you know pretty much straight away that it's not going to be that lower take. And you can just keep eyes on. Great rotations coming through from that heaven position. That lockout in the lower bomb site was fantastic too from OG between Nico and Alexi.
Yeah, had the crossfire in the right spot. I do agree. I was a little confused by Heroic's consistent battering of B, even with the picks. Maybe not too confident about it. Mantu's been great in this outside spot with the AWP. Oh, hand will be spotted. Refresh. Not quite peeking into it. Wide swing in the crouch as well. Will dodge out on the shot. Smoke should allow Mantu to escape. They even smoke him off as well. But Alexi has moved on in. Does throw the Molotov, though, so gives up that he's in that position, but doesn't want to take those fights. It's majorly grouped up in towards lobby, and Refresh is trying to buy time sitting in these smokes. Can he make it into main undetected? Oh, that's a free opportunity. Valde didn't realize it was a gap, so suddenly Refresh is adding to the chaos. There's no one that can move in to help Flames. He's a completely isolated fight. They really wanted to lock out outside, but Heroic haven't sprung in.
He's going to need another big monster hold, isn't he? Nico thinking about peeking into Squeak Door. The AWP's posted, and that's the bomb being dropped. Nico only finds one, and Flames is now the last one left to try and hold. He doesn't find anything at all. Overwhelmed completely. Mantu's trying to get some of this util down. There's also a vent player that can come up quite quickly. If they can drop the bomb again, they can waste even more time. When does Alexi to start the peak? Mantu falls. Alexi doesn't find anything. Heroic with the same scoreline again. 4 at the half. We head to a break.
Shadows, I've come to make a name, ready for battle, 'cause I got got a thing to claim. Think that I'll crumble. I'll show you a mistake. Where you see me coming, better run for cover. 'Cause I'm not slowing down, I'm never going under. I survived the pain, I know it made me stronger. So meet the monster I came to conquer. When all the smoke clears, I'll still be on my feet. Forget all of my fears, 'cause I know my destiny. I feel a champion waking inside of me. It's set in motion, the legend's spoken. This is my moment. Can't break my focus.
It's a great start from OG. That CT side looking very, very capable, and Heroic only mustering the same result that they got last time against Big in that first round of games in the deciders. It's looking a little dire here for Heroic, and I don't know that they're going to be able to make that same comeback over, but of course, Dweg is with me to bring you that action, figure out whether or not they can actually pull through. Dualies are out, and so a little excited to see what Kaden gets done with those.
That could be just a ramp explosion, contact play. Tessa's not even finding anything, just diving back down to that lower bomb site. And OG, they're hot in his heels. They're going to go very quick. Rotations are coming in very fast for Heroic. And now for Nico, he's got to strike first. Tessa's getting the first pick through. Kaden with those Julies doing work, and everything is falling apart as the CTs completely rip this round. We see a triple even coming through from those Jewel Berettas, and Kaden makes that look easy, Yumi.
Yeah, once in a blue moon, it feels like the Dualies actually perform, and Kaden just running them down. You know, full spray with those Dualies at distance, and it seems to get the job done. OG kind of floundering around after running into that B bomb site, but it felt like they had the open territory. You know, they could have played it a little slower, just hoping to capitalize on maybe slower rotates, but Heroic were there to greet them with open arms.
Oh, Glock rounds. We love them because not really much happens, and then on the rare case, we see a couple of kills. It's like, oh, we're seeing some surprises. I don't think many surprises are going to happen here outside. Stone getting 4, nice and easy. And for OG, they haven't been able to find anything. Shush even getting that last kill. Now, for OG, they've won 11 rounds, Yumi. They came into this event being 11th in the EU RMR rankings, and they're in the 11th place decider match.
Are you saying that there's some kind of conspiracy going on? There's too many 11s.
Yeah. Are we going to see 5 rounds in a row for Heroic to make it 11-11?
If so, is it a coincidence? I would think not. The big number 11's trying to keep us out from figuring out their master plan. Let's see if Heroic can actually accomplish their goal in getting there, bridging that gap and tying things up. Off to a good start, you know, pretty uncontested CT side rounds already. I'm not really a believer in the comeback, not just yet, but they showed some impressive stuff last time over. Tessus gets full spammed through the smoke, through a nade, so it gave up his position, and now Ramp's free territory.
Right, that's heartbreaking, that is. You're just thinking, all right, going to put a deep nade in, might take 1 or 2 bullets and going to fall back, try and get into safety. Alexi is even thinking of the walk outside. Now, there is an outside player of Cadian who isn't seeing this at all.
Oh, and he's gone, so that opportunity is completely missed out on.
Oh, they know he's here. Yeah, Refresh is getting sandwiched. You've got the lurk from Nico outside. The Heaven players have seen him, and now what? Stan and Shush just have to save. Can't really do much in this 2v5 at all. Not even worth it with the money situation where it is. And Flames, towards the back end of that first half, he started getting quite quiet. He has showed up in a huge way when it matters the most in the opening rifle round of the second half.
Yeah, I felt like he was about to be gifted a third as well, but Stown does reconsider his options. With already that bomb down, this heroic save is guaranteed. Flames not exactly going on the deepest of hunts. Doesn't really feel like it's a massive priority. OG just want to get these rounds fielded nice and early. An AK being given over, though, that actually might incentivize them to push a little deeper, but there's just not enough time to orchestrate that. So no problems. Yeah, just kind of getting picked apart there, Heroic. A clear kill through the smoke. Then, you know, not spotting out the Heaven wrap. Getting dealt with outside. It's all looking a little too easy in a round like that for OG. They were very spread out in a lot of ways as well for a lot of those kills. So it didn't feel like Heroic had a great read on the situation. Let's see if they can rebound. Their adaptations on CT sides are often some of the best, especially on Nuke.
OG. Ooh, that is a lot of tag damage. Is that just a nade outside that just is able to pick in? OG, though, this is very fast down to this lower bomb side. There's a lot of rotations into Ram from the CTs.
And they cross without any smokes. Oh, a refresh. His feet just spotted as he goes up the vents, and Cadian's unaccounted for. Doubling them up. That's the bomb dropped as well. Nico trying to recover, and there's Valde to completely sideline, both in control. So the lower site can be taken. Safe plant in from OG, but they are this man down. Heroic trying to get things together for the retake.
Oh, this is tough. And you can even see the ramp walk coming through from Valde because he knows he needs to connect onto a frag. Nico's thinking the same, moving out from double doors. Sees the secret player, so at least knows where that first is. Heroic are taking their time.
Do have the kit, but no smoke for that bomb. The flashes are going to be hard to implement. So many tight angles here on this lower site. Valde could be an unforeseen element. No Molotov will be met to him. Feels like they really need to go. They have bled off too much time on this clock. Finally, Nico's dropped, and actually a descending refresh. Felt like he was in the air for that one, but Valde still hits the deck. Retake successful for Heroic, even with them moving in so slowly. Started to get real nervous about it, but they do pull it together.
Yeah, they had a lot of late retakes too on their city side against Big, just running the clock down. Great hold in from Katie, and we see that wraparound play from Valde to get a couple of picks. That still doesn't bring the round. And another thing that we haven't thought about or even talked about as well, Yumi, is that those two guys used to play against one another, right? When we know that Valde played on North, when Cadian was there as well, the two veteran guys, the two older guys from their respective teams, they've even had a chance playing together. I know it hasn't been recent, it's still there.
Felt like a lot of Danish players ran through that North project.
Yeah, for sure.
And that North project was ran into the ground.
So is Cadian.
Yeah, he's full blind, can't see a damn thing. And another Dane does take him out of the equation. Stan will make sure that they don't make good progress towards outside, at least for now. Refresh as well as with him. Seems like Heroic really want to fight outside, and OG are there in numbers.
Oh, do they peek with it? They're thinking about it. Flash over the top. Refresh. Oh, they catch a lot. It's Nico on the other side that just continues to find frags. He gets 4, and Tessus gets picked off by the orb. It looked as if Heroic had a way into that round, flashing their star player, right? Flashing to get the intent of getting as much damage in as possible. And instead, Nico is just holding the fort for the whole team.
It looked like they were just sitting ducks outside. Heroic really got the drop on them on those fights, and still they weren't able to come away with those kills. That's a big round for Nico. 4 in the round, and now only 3 away here for OG to take this first map. Heroic's money will run thin after this round. You know, they're going to end up in that sort of half buy, full buy cycle. One of their last real chances at this. Oh, the damage is great. Refresh in front of the smoke at door as well. Has got his hands on an AK, and they've picked out flames all the meanwhile as well. This has been met at the gates once again. This is looking very reminiscent of some of these rushes that Heroic were doing their own T side. And now OG have to navigate that situation themselves. They know how difficult it was for their opponents to muster anything against them. So what's the approach? Seems like dialing away from lobby is the play. Are they just going to go for the straight save?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
They're so out of it. They've got no map control. The bomb carrier of Alexi is low. They don't even have util to go for the outside smokes. They've got 1 smoke, so money's not fantastic. Let's not throw this round away. Let's just hold on to our weapons. And Heroic, if they're really gutsy, they're feeling risky about it, they can hunt. The problem is, do they want to go real deep into T-Spawn to be able to deal with these last players? I don't know if it's worth it for them at all, so just hold on to what you've got. Flames and Valde just not finding anything on that T side, and what a return that is. After OG finds so much success with Nico outside in that last round, it's just Refresh on the other side of the squeak smoke that deals the first. He has Shush to back him up, and between the two of them, they locked the entire round out.
Yeah, it's a long save here for OG. They called it quits minute 10 into it. Or actually, I guess 30 seconds into the round. Hey, there's even a smoke that Tessus can pick up. That's quite nice. Whole lot of waiting around. Could be kind of used as a timeout as well for OG because they made that move so early. Heroic maybe constantly thinking, where could they be? Are they about to spring in on us? And it never came. So here's the reinvestment here from that T side. Sure, the plan didn't work out, but that's why they called it quits so early. Knew that the assets they saved over could be used to better effect in this one. And maybe OG take a bit more of a cautious step. We've seen a couple of these slow works outside. We've seen as well that them capitalize on some ramp aggression as well. Or do they try again? You know, maybe it was just all a coincidence that they lost out in those opening exchanges. Refresh is in their face, but there's Nico round the corner once again. He seems to be the man that keeps things in control outside for OG.
Yeah, just thinking to himself, I was playing so passive in Squeak Door last time. Give me some edge. Give me something explosive. And it's a play where there's a lot of flair behind it with going for that kind of an aggro move, and it just doesn't pay off. He's not quite pre-aiming the corner straight away, and for OG, that's an advantage you will take any day of the week, capitalizing on a pick that early.
Yeah, really hoping that nobody was going to be playing this on the default. There's Nico. He's always so shifty. Different spots every time, and now he's left on the lurk. Could be used as another prong of assault. Look at the aggression in towards ramp. Valde's already on the chairs, primed for the angle. Tessus dropped, and they don't hunt the trade. So a 5-on-3. Now they burst into ramp. Down has to turn from the flash, and he's a sitting duck. He was out in the open, wanted the off angle, and now these 2 remaining Heroic players, I mean, they don't really have too much control. Ramp can be exploited on. Nico's gotten another pick all the meanwhile as Kaden went for information. I mean, if they funnel towards A, that's the best shot for him, but there's Valde on the flank. Not a single fight looked as though Heroic could even fight back properly.
And it really had that feeling in the nicest way possible. The OG just dumbed down the round and just kept it simple. Do you know what I mean? Like, they waited for that over-aggressive fight outside, and they're just defaulting. They're getting Nico to walk out to Secret. They're getting Valde just to sit there. Just everyone stop moving. We've got Mantu who's watching the squeak door, waiting for the over-aggression, and it just comes in, out to ramp. They get that pick from Valde. They slow it down even further. They then catch the next player out in ramp on a crossfire between Alexi and Valde. And that whole round is, let's just wait, let's hold, let's force mistakes out from Heroic.
Felt like there were mistakes aplenty as well. Tess is not getting punished on going a little bit aggressive behind that ramp smoke. Going full victim and full foul to Flames' bursts and sprays through those smokes. Much slower approach all in all here from OG. They were waiting around for aggro peaks, but since that didn't work out for Heroic last round, less likely in this one. They have a double setup in at ramp, and that's where her OG are grouped. Oh, they smoke it off. It makes the crossfire break down. Cadian with this scout is finding nothing. Testis actually not fully cleared out, and so finds 2 kills. Valde tried to get the trade, but now it's 2 players left for OG, and they're moving through smokes themselves, trying to find anything, but no one's presenting that fight.
A slight uncharacteristic lurk smoke out in ramp, and it just doesn't work the way they would have liked at all. Might just hold on to their weapons again, honestly. 2v5, money down the drain for a couple of players. Yep, let's just do what we did a couple of rounds ago and just save onto our weapons. Now, I've got the feeling, Yumi, that we've been back and forth with rounds for 7 in a row now, where we've only had individual rounds being won by each team. We're going back and forth a lot in this second half.
And if that's the way that things are going to fight out, that plays right into your hand if you're OG. You're fine to give up a few when you have this lead. Heroic don't have the wiggle room. Yeah, I'm trying to recall myself and just think about how these rounds have been going. You are absolutely right. It has been just...
We saw, what, Pistol? And then the anti-eco conversion when Heroic didn't, or OG didn't decide to force up. But they had, like, that eco, didn't they? They sort of had, like, the couple of upgrades here where they didn't force it completely. They then won the next. And then from there, we've just gone bang, 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 1 for 1.
A zebra crossing of rounds, perhaps.
Yeah. A keyboard? Yeah, I don't know if you're a musical kind of guy.
Oh,
like,
that
the
kind of
white
keyboard.
keys,
Yeah, I was thinking
yeah.
immediately like the gamer keyboard.
Oh, no. Yeah. Musical keyboard. A piano, maybe, if that helps for everyone else.
Well, maybe they could find a few keys to success. OG down towards these secret steps already. Cadian's Molotov is well-timed. A nade to follow up could do significant damage. They're grouped up in that corner, and so, bang. They take a whole bunch of damage. Why'd you group up with me? Why are you hugging me into this corner? I wanted to dodge this nade. Cadian's done a great job at deploying all of that utility. Keeps OG at bay. They cannot round the corner just yet. And now Stound's moved into another angle to support. I wonder whether OG dial back or just continue to work this slowly. Could go for the boost as well.
Oh, timing's everything. They're just waiting for the push forward, and Cadian's going to push in front of it. Oh, my goodness, he finds 3. What? You expect him to maybe find 1, 2 at most, not 3 there?
And it's all Stound that just distracts, so they all line up for Cadian. How does he get 3 with the Galil, no less? It felt like OG were going to be able to run them over. They went for the burst, and now a similar spot where only 2 survive. They have been moving to save, but this time I think you lose a little too much. Gonna try their hand at it. Alexi going to be the front man for this. Flames has to make his way up the vents, and that's not great. I mean, 20 seconds left, and they haven't spotted a single Heroic player. This is real dicey. Feels like it's a guaranteed round here for Heroic. No chance that they'll be able to breach into this one. Alexi's won his fight. Okay, never mind. I take my words right back. I'm sorry, OG. I'm sorry, Heroic. 2-on-2, and they can move into these post plants that are going to be hard to read.
Mate, this is so winnable. Even outside, look how wide the angle is for Alexi being a catch-off down. And Tessus is now the one to try and recover the round. He's got a kit and a flash to work with, and OG are just wasting time. We're even seeing a backstab coming through from Alexi. He's trying to get out to this heaven position. Tessus going to tap the bomb, draw that fight out to the open, deal with the first player of Flames. He doesn't know where the next is. He thinks Alexi's going to peek out from main, and Alexi's just playing the time. He knows exactly where he is. He loses out the fight, and Heroic have somehow won found one of the biggest clutches of this map. What a play from Tessus. The turnaround to heaven.
Oh my days! It felt like Alexi had that fight every day of the week. He's like a little slow to realize he doesn't know if he's going to be sticking it or not. And so he's so drawn to that bomb instead. And Tessus is out on his screen for a little bit of time, but because of that slow reaction, you see Alexi has to almost do like a double take with his eyes. And that gives enough room for the rotate round, the 180 spin for Tessus. That's ridiculous. That's a round that OG were about to steal from their hands, but Tessus keeps it under control.
My goodness, what a recovery. And that was such a needed round too for Heroic. That resets the economy. They don't know about the AK outside. They've been able to peek into it, and now it just gets dropped.
After a round that comes so close yet so far, Heroic now an easier one ahead of them. You know, they finally broke that string of back and forths. Oh, Tessus under pressure. Cadian's there to help him out as well, and he lined up the two he needed to, so Tessus keeps it. Grabs the AWP as well. They're starting to close in on that gap. That felt as, I mean, I've still hung up on the rounds prior. Could have been OG at 15, but now a very realistic opportunity for Heroic to come back, potentially, you know, bring us forward in this. They're finding a little bit more consistency.
It's getting too close. It was, what, 9-0 to start out for OG. They're up 11-3, 11-4 at the half.
Yeah.
And they've only managed 3 rounds on this T side. It's so similar. There's so many parallels we can draw from the game we saw on the B stream yesterday between Heroic and Big on this map.
Outside smoke's going to be used once again here for OG, and much further back are Heroic, so not going to be able to contest this one. Stown isn't at the secret steps and not going to deploy any utility. Could find a great timing. First for the AWP. They're ready for this as well. They were primed on the angle, so 2 men down here for Heroic. B under siege, and you can see Refresh trying to make his dive down to the vent in time. Flashes in, they know he's there, and so it's a 1-for-1 exchange. It feels like Heroic might get locked out of this round. Only hidden element is Tessus, and he could really surprise Maju. They're grouped up at Decon, and that's the bomb as well.
His teammate's so far away. Cadian's got to try and see if he can assist. He's still up here in the lobby position, so he's going to have to come down on perhaps a vent rotate, and Nico even catches off the player. I had the feeling in that situation, just by looking at the positioning from Cadian on that radar, that he was already thinking about the same, wasn't he? He knows his teammate's down there at lower. What can he really find? Okay, maybe if there's a huge hold, if there's a way that 2-3 kills get presented, okay, I'm going to rotate back in. They were hesitant between one another. Cadian was already thinking about the safe before his teammate fell. So, yeah, as soon as he does, hold on to that AWP.
Might have just said something along the lines of, play this like a 1v4. And
yeah.
Unless he was able to bring it close to maybe even like a 1v1, then Cadian wasn't going to consider it. Value in that AWP. He's been able to get, you know, pretty consistent, not multi-kills on this AWP, but he's been in the right place to support his teammates where needed. And of course, that Heroic money can be a little bit tumultuous, you know, a couple close rounds here and there. So, OG, they do breach past it. They find these 2 entries. Once again, it feels like Heroic, I think throughout this game on both sides, they have often lost. If not 1, then 2 players at the start of these rounds. We saw so many rush plays on T side, and on CT sides as well. They're kind of still struggling with the same opening success rate. See if they can right the ship in time. Get these 4 to threaten an OT at the very least, because OG, this would be a big game to come away with. A nice little victory under their belt. Talked a little bit about how their nuke has maybe fallen out of favor, not as reliable as once it was. Still a little bit of ways to go.
Lack of streaks too, right, Michael? When you think about OG, or at least when you think about Heroic, they had, was it round 15, 16, 17 being won? They've now found 3 in a row before being answered back. We haven't seen any more from that. So that consistent nature of bringing the comeback in has made it difficult. Even Cadian can't strike on ramp because he's completely blind.
All the meanwhile, Valde has been dropped though, so it feels like it's time to move on in here for OG. All 4 players in at ramp. Tessus gets overwhelmed. That's the entry nice and easy from the in-game leader. Heroic don't have a fast rotate available, finally getting themselves down those vents, and that will be the key chokehold for them to move themselves down. And for now, OG won't have forward post plants either. So 4-on-4 for this retake. A whole lot of utility to help delay here for OG as well.
Now, Alexi B just desperate for a pick, and there are so many players that could start peeking on this double doors angle, and instead Alexi B and Mantu are starting to play it quite defensive. Nico from the double doors gets the first, they actually close the doors on him, and now he can peek out again to make it a second. Alexi chiming into the action, and Cadian's the last one left. They know exactly where he is, they just don't need a hunt, just play time, and this round is going to be theirs. OG going to take the map pick of Heroic on Nuke. A great result coming through for the international squad. And my goodness, they've struggled with head-to-heads in the past against Heroic. They came out on Nuke and they fired away, and it started with that 9-0.